All right, we all right, we are live. Welcome to Trailblazer Femme, living boldly at work and life. I am Dr. Bunmi Akinkugbe, and with me today is Coach Fofo. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. My name is Mofoluwaso Ilevbare, but you can call me Coach Fofo, and we're here with Trailblazer Femme, learning how to live boldly at work and life. I'm excited, Dr. B. How are
Yes,
you?
I am. It's Saturday and just excited about today and this live. The folks are coming in, so we're going to have a great time today talking about living boldly at work and in life. And we are the co founders of Trailblazer Femme. Trailblazer Femme is a female professionals network that focuses on career and life coaching. We help mid to senior level female professionals increase their value, boost their careers, and integrate work life so that they can make a positive impact in life. Um, we do a whole lot with women of all races, but especially women of color. And when we talk about women of color, what do we mean by women of color, Coach Fofo?
Oh, basically, we're talking about women who may be in the minorities in their organization or in the location where they live. So, from African Americans to Africans to to minorities, Black, Filipino, colored women who are naturally not in their natural habitat where they were born, or either they were born there, but then they're in the minority group in their organizations, ethnic groups who may feel lonely sometimes, or may feel alone in the boardroom, or may feel they just belong to a small sect. And we help you to occupy space to show up, to live boldly, to continue to do the things that make a difference and make an impact, irrespective of wherever you are. We consider ourselves as global citizens. So even as women of color, there you are, Dr. B in Atlanta. I'm here in Sydney, Australia. Technology just brings us all together. And for everyone who is joining and will watch the replay, you're welcome to this group and these conversations. We hope to have them on a weekly basis. So we hope you hang out with us as often as possible and support one another. The most important thing is helping you to live your purpose at work and life. And at the same time, we want to reduce that gender pay gap and make sure that you're at the seat, you're making decisions, you're influencing wherever you are. And at the same time, you're doing it still prioritizing what matters to you without stress, without hustling, without the burnout.
Amazing. Amazing. So we welcome our guest today. If you're on, feel free to put a comment in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. Let's know what kind of trailblazer you are. Are you a nurse, a doctor, an engineer, an influencer? We have them all. And maybe pop in your part of the globe as well. And as we're going on, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to pop it in the chat as well. We look forward to addressing some of those today. So, it's our first live show, and we're going to be having this on a regular basis. So, if you're not following us yet, follow us at www.trailblazerfem.com. Check us out there. And we're on all social media platforms at Trailblazer Femme on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We want you to join our LinkedIn community on our LinkedIn page so that when we have these live sessions, you can be a part of it and be very much informed about what is going on. We're going to be having real authentic conversations with women who are trailblazing at work and at life, learning one or two things about how are they doing it. That question always comes up, like, how do you do it all? But I must tell you, None of us really does it all, We just find ways and means of making things work at the appropriate time using the tools and resources that we've been provided. Coach Fofo, you want to speak about doing it all?
Oh, absolutely. At the end of the day, if you're really concerned about doing it all based on expectations of other people, you just realize you're either going to get stressed, burnt out, and at the same time still disappointed because let's be honest, we really can't live up to everybody's expectations. But what I am learning in my career and life is being able to define what matters to me in the season of life that I'm in. We wrote a book called Living Boldly, talking about how to manage yourself from the inside out, transform yourself in the season of life you're in. Because life shifts. And if we think about the last 2 years, I'm sure every single person here can talk
Right.
about areas of life where your life has shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to be more self aware of the shift that has happened in your life, acknowledge the shift, and then reassess or reprioritize. So in this new season that I'm in, maybe I changed location, I changed jobs, I just had a baby, I just got back to work, I just got promoted. In this new season that I'm in, what matters to me the most? And that could be your all. And your all, it's interesting, for some people could just be one thing, because sometimes when we think about all, we're thinking is everything. Your
Right.
all in that season could be one thing, it could be two, and it could be three. But whatever it is for you, being able to prioritize it and say, this is what matters to me now. How can I find the resources and the tools and the friends and the support like Trailblazer Femme to help me excel and thrive in this season of life that I'm in? And that's what I think. How about you, Dr. B?
Amazing, amazing. And I'll just take a quick pause to welcome Olatomi Asher from Sydney, Australia. Great to have you here. And we're taking questions and comments. If you want to put those in the chat, that will be great as well. Yes, but talking about doing it all and the power of focusing on one thing. I read a book one time, called Essentialism. I forgot the other right now. And also, I'm reading another book, One Thing. And, at every point in our life, it becomes very crucial for us to kind of find out what is essential at that moment in time. What is that one thing? Of course, there are always many things pulling us in various directions. We both are moms, wives, CEOs, employees, everything combined, church, community, and just making sure things run smoothly. But if you think about it, at every point in time, there is one thing that is critical. There is one thing that should be priority at that point in time. For example, during this live has taken priority for the next probably 20, 30 minutes. But after that, we're moving on to the next thing. So trying our best to be able to narrow down on what is important, especially as women of color and in this, post-pandemic season, because many of us have suffered burnout in this season. Like we've worked so hard, people are tired. We've heard about the great resignation. Now we're hearing about quiet quitting and all that. And these are realities of what is happening to career women of color. But at the end of the day, being able to take that power and own that power and think about what is best for me at this point in time to make sure I'm taking care of myself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, so that I can be the best for myself and then I can be the best, mom, wife, employee, single mom, mentor, career coach, whatever it is I have to be in other aspects of life. So I believe that is very critical.
Absolutely, Dr. B. And you talk on some important things. I love the books you've read, and I think I'm reading that Essentialism again now that you mention it. And welcome, Adebola. It's nice to have you here. When we think about that one thing, sometimes we struggle with that one thing because, like you said, every woman has minimum 5 roles. You count it on one finger or maybe on two, depending on the season of life you're in.
Right.
But one thing you said is, where does all that strength and the grace to do what God has given you to do, where does that come from? No matter how many goals you set, no matter how many dreams you have, if you're not healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just like we said, it's difficult to give out of your overflow. But sometimes I find out that as women, sometimes we don't prioritize ourselves enough. And we're giving out of a half cup full or out of an empty cup. And if you don't realize that your cup is almost emptying out, you probably will not know until you end up in the hospital. I remember, I don't know if it's happened to you before, but I had an incident in my career where I had a major presentation, global thing to do, and I was spending the whole week just preparing for that, apparently the whole month, more or less. But then I woke up that morning and I felt a little pain in a part of my body. I thought it looked like a pimple, a small, I thought maybe it was just a simple bite. It was fine. It was going to be okay. By the Wednesday of that week, it was more painful. Of course, as always, you take a little pain reliever and you take that and you think everything is fine. But I wasn't focused and I wasn't listening to my body signals. By the time it got to Friday morning, you know how it is when you sit down in an executive meeting and somehow you can't seem to sit down comfortably because the pain was so unbearable.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
told myself, I said, you know what? You have borne this pain for about a week. Go to the clinic and go have it checked out. And the interesting thing was I left work about lunchtime just to pop in, see the GP and come back.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happened?
What?
I didn't come back to the office for the next 30 days.
Oh my goodness. No
Because
way.
I got to the clinic, they started the diagnosis, they took some tests. The next thing they came back for more blood tests. I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Oh.
For 3 hours, I was in the waiting room. And eventually, I had two doctors who came out looking a little bit puzzled. You see, when your doctor is looking puzzled, you better know there's something they're about to say. And they took me into one of the rooms and they asked me if I have family. Do you have family here? I'm like, you told me, why are you asking me about family? I came to the hospital for a quick checkup.
Exactly.
And they said, I might want to call my husband because they will need him to sign some things because they need to have an emergency surgery right away.
Wow.
Or else, I could be brain dead and they don't know when.
Oh
So you can imagine I went from being that superwoman trailblazer, preparing for that global conference and all that, to being wheeled into the theater the same evening by about 10 or 11 p.m.
Wow.
And by the time I woke up the next morning, I just realized it was worse than I had thought.
Wow.
And I wasn't responding to treatment. And I was in the hospital in isolation for 30 days from my family.
Oh my goodness.
One of the lessons I learned during that time, we don't have to wait till it becomes that bad, right?
Exactly.
It's just thinking about how do I fill my cup to overflowing so that I can pour out from the overflow. I can give to my work, I can give to my family, because the world and our families, they deserve the best of us, not what is left of us. And if we want to give them the best of us, it means that we are paying attention to ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And that's one thing we do at Trailblazer Femme, supporting one another every month, thinking through the 8 dimensions of life. What matters to you right now? What is important in your life right now? And how are you prioritizing that right now? And, when you think about it, the year is almost running to an end, right? And everyone is now talking about the 100 days, the 90 days, and creating new things. When you think essentialism, you may not even need to create something new.
Exactly.
You may just need to slow down to focus or to take care of yourself. Or Dr. B, what are you planning to do this next 100 days?
I know. And usually the end of the year is so packed with activities that sometimes if you don't pay attention, you just lose it altogether, especially when it comes to eating and adding a few pounds, because we're going to be going from candy to the favorite desserts and one celebration after the other into the holidays for the next 4 months. So we just have to be conscious about it. But, back to what we're talking about today, even if this is the only thing we talk about, I just want to encourage us as professional women of color to pause and think and just do an assessment. Like, just ask yourself a question. How am I doing? And just take a break and, if you're a journaling type, grab that journal and put it in there. Like just being sincere and authentic to yourself and doing an assessment of where you are. Because if you have a goal and a vision to be a trailblazer, to be the best of anything in life, you really need to assess where you are and see if you have that wherewithal to be able to get to where you're going. And if you are really sincere with yourself and you figure out that, oh, at the rate I'm going, I don't think this can happen, then it helps you to take positive action that will be in line with where your vision and your goals are. And most importantly, looking at um, your network, your circle of support, your accountability group. Many of these resources are there, but sometimes we don't tap into them because we're always on the go and ready to do the next thing. And, that thing, we get this degree, then it's the next one. We get this certification, then it's the next one. But, just sit down, calm down, and think and like, okay, how am I doing? What have I done so far this year, January through now we're in end of September, going to October, the last 3 months of the year, October, November, December. And how can I finish this year on a high note? Not necessarily with running after and chasing more medals and everything, but having a point of gratitude and appreciation and kind of soaking it all in, like, okay, this is what I've done. And it's not about being judgmental or being competitive, like, oh, Fofo achieved this much, I only achieved this. It's about you and where your vision and your goals are driving you. And it's only when you're alive and feeling okay that you can even run after those dreams anyway. Every couple of weeks I hear about someone who passed on, and it just makes you pause and think like, okay, what's this life worth after all? And just putting in those things that make it worth living.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as you say that, Dr. B, you have such a calm
Yeah. I think we might have lost you, or maybe it's just my network. It's frozen a little bit. Okay. I'm sure she'll be back in a second. But she keeps talking about my calm nature, and that is one of my strengths. And many times, when we're going through um faces, challenges, everything in life, many times our strengths kick in and help us to get back on track and get back in radar with what we need to do. So if you think about yourself like some victories that you've achieved in the past, if you think through how did I make it through this? And I'll use myself as an example, because I always try to come back to that calm sense of mind. And my calmness is not necessarily a weakness, because those that know me will tell you that, oh my goodness, that lady is tough, oh, don't mind her and all that. But, in my calm personality, I also have the strength to be focused and organized and to think about what is best and what can be done in this situation, looking at it strategically to figure out what needs to be done. Because if I take off and I get all agitated and confused and want to do everything at the same time, then I'm just going to be going around in circles and circles and nothing will get done. So pulling in that strength, your area of strength, and there's so many tests that work with us to find our strength, to discover our strengths. You can ask people who are close to you, your family members, your friends, like, hey, what do you notice about me? How am I when I'm at my best? And things like that will help you to discover your strength. And then using those strengths to be a positive action that will help you to move forward in life. So sit down, take an inventory, and figure out how things are going with you in your life. Coach Fofo is back. Figure out how things are going with you in your life and use your strengths that come from the inside to be able to overcome those obstacles and stay focused on your vision. Welcome back.
Yay! For some reason, I just lost the connection there. But you see, that's what happens. Life happens. And when it happens, you were saying something before I got off. It's about slowing down and pausing and using that time to reflect. Sometimes, as busy women, we're working from Monday till Friday, sometimes even weekends. If you're on shifts, things like that, you're taking care of the family or other commitments you have outside of work, that sometimes we don't pause to reflect. But you mentioned things around, how am I doing? How am I really doing? And being sincere with yourself. When the lights are out and there are no followers, there's no Instagram, there's no LinkedIn, can you be sincere with yourself and say, how am I doing? And then learning to slow down to be able to ramp back up. How grateful am I? How did I get here? What is going well in my life? What am I grateful for? Something I do every evening when I'm going to bed, and I found out it helps me to sleep better, is to ask myself those questions. So once I'm in bed, before I sleep for about 5 minutes, I just kind of run through the day and I say, what went well today? And I'm grateful for that. Then I reflect on what didn't go well today. Because I don't know if you've had those times, Dr. B, where there's something on your mind, you go to bed, you wake up, and you're still thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
almost like you never slept
Uh-huh.
because it's been on your mind.
I
And
do.
sometimes, I don't know if it's happened to you, but it might be a meeting you were in that didn't go well, something a colleague said, something a manager said,
Oh my
something your
goodness.
husband said, something your child did. But what I found out is, if I just kind of say, what didn't go well today? And I give myself the time and space to say, oh, okay, all right, I forgive myself for not keeping that commitment. I said I would
Mhm.
have an apple, but I ended up with chicken. or, or maybe I raised my voice, or maybe I did this or that. But by just settling that in my mind, then I can go to bed knowing that I can sleep peacefully without carrying the baggages of yesterday into tomorrow.
Mhm.
And that's something I'm learning as well that is helping me. So really, for everyone joining, as you're thinking about the 100 days, because I assure you, all the motivational gurus are going to be in your inboxes now talking about the next big thing, what you need to do, how you need to do it, how you can get up, finish strong, and all that. Stay in your lane and slay in your lane.
Woohoo! I love that.
Yes, stay in your lane and slay in your lane. What is the one thing that you want to focus on in this season? What is the one thing you've started that you want to try to finish? What is the one area where maybe you've been struggling all year and it's time to say, you know what, I need help? Or maybe it's something that you've been beating a dead horse and it's time to say, you know what, I quit on this one. But take an action that works for you and that helps you to find fulfillment and joy, embracing the moment, embracing the present, embracing the things that are around you, and taking the steps that lead to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Well, we're making this brief and sweet and short today. But we'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 5 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, equivalent to all other time zones across the world. Um, to have these authentic conversations, and we're welcoming guests that want to be on the show. If you do want to be on the show, send us an email, send us a text, send us a direct message on LinkedIn, and we'll be glad to have you on, because this is a joint effort. Not one of us can do it. Some of us have 5 years experience in the corporate world, some 10, some 15, some 30, some 50. So we want all the wisdom from all the generations of trailblazers and adding it to ours to make us even more trailblazing. So we really appreciate you for joining us today. We'll be back on this channel same time next week. If you missed the introduction, feel free to catch the replay. But Trailblazer Femme is a community professional network for women of color. We offer premium coaching and community services and resources that help mid to senior level female professionals increase their value, boost their careers, and make a positive impact in life in the most productive way. We're
Woohoo!
combining it all to be the best that we can be in every area of life. So I'll turn it over to Coach Fofo to give her closing comments and we'll wrap it up for the day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Adebola Olatomi Adeola. Thank you for everyone who joined. And for those who'll be watching the replay, we encourage you to pick your one thing. As you think about the next few months for the end of the year, what is the one thing that you want to focus on? Managing your own expectations and others as well, but giving it the best shot, living boldly at work and life. We have a LinkedIn group as well, and I think Dr. B will put the link there where we can have authentic conversations. You have a question, you can ask. If you go to our website as well, you'll find our services there. We've got a mastermind as well where we meet every month. It's a private session where we talk with one another and we leverage the strengths that we have in the team. We've had people who've got great jobs this year. We've had those who have slowed down as well to try to reposition and reset their vision. Whatever stage of life you're in, girl, you're not alone. If there's one thing we want to tell you,
Right.
you are not alone. And having a support group can help and support you in giving the best that you can in life. Remember, it's the small steps we take that lead to big shifts that make us unstoppable. And we trust that as you go on with your day to day, your weekend, whatever it is you're on to, have fun with it, connect with us, and tell us what did you take away from this session and what was most helpful to you. We thank you for joining us. And from my side in Sydney, Australia, I'm saying have a wonderful weekend.
All right, everyone. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.